Looks a bit like an AI generated image, which is just uninspiring, a bit boring. Let's look at what is here. I see birds attacking the people in the lobby. I see these little fragmented black ghosts floating on the horizon. I see this weird green reflection in the night sky. I see this sad melting witch's hat just bagging around here on the harbour. I see birds that are bigger than the people. I see structure that makes no sense. I see two people who are clearly the same person. I see... And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. So this is going to be project 381 of the Helsinki Museum for Architecture competition. And straight up, we have to be written of people, art, land, and the Baltic Sea. The first image, stack of blocks. Second image, nice diagrams. Love this image. Because as I've said before, it's always refreshing to see a proposal from a different point of view. So in this image, we're actually facing the harbour, which is quite nice, and the rest of the city. And it's just nice to see how the project sits from a different point of view. Okay, well, let's see here. So this diagram's quite clear and clean, but then the massing itself, a little bit more pixely. I love this image. I'm not sure if it was the intent or not, but there is sort of a physical model-like quality to it, and it's like grey card that's been cut. Some big curvy cuts. The lighting's fantastic. Massing is interesting. Not so sure if I'm a big fan overall of the way in which the openings are articulated, but the image is great. Again, this little guy down here, not really helpful. Interior is exciting. Stair looks fantastic. Again, lovely seeing another point of view. Interior looks very good. Not so sure how that light works. I'm going to come back to those diagrams in just a second. Beautiful references. Okay. I think the parts of the project in which I can engage with, for example, the aerial views, the perspectives, this model image, the interior, are really good. The diagrams themselves, I think the design itself, the overall proposal, a little bit complicated, a little bit unclear, a little bit of Minecraft action, and it just looks to be quite a lot of different series of intersecting blocks and programs and cubes and squares and bits and pieces and ziggity zaggity sort of footprint thing going on here. It's all looks a little bit expensive and a little bit fussy. And I don't see any of that inside any of this, which is the peculiar thing about this. So either, let's see, yeah, it's just a lot of blocks and rooms and spaces, which is interesting in a way, but I think it's a nice presentation. I think it's an interesting project. Not my favorite. I think it really just comes down to the overall idea, the design itself, not so much the communication of the idea, because these spaces look fun and good. So I'm going to move it along. Next one. This one looks a little bit, what's it called? Sisu? Sisu. Form follows function experience. Yeah, nice images. Still very hard to read though, what the project is. Like sometimes if you think of a piece of architecture as an object, like it's nice to understand what the object is, like what it looks like describe it to me without any images verbally, and I can paint a picture in my head. But projects like this, they're almost not, it's not really possible to describe them. Like this looks like two buildings, there's like a fracture, there's like some angular screens, there's a roof garden, there's some brown bits, there's some glass bits. This looks like the harbour is sort of peeling up. The harbour has some damp problems and now the floor is swollen and it's breaking up here a little bit. And again, like two buildings sort of in a way. You got this really beautiful pavilion. I'm going to say something pretty unhelpful here. Let's just get rid of this guy. Let's just look at this guy. Let's big him up, scale him up. Could be a more interesting project. Sustainability, important to see, very good. These little diagrams, these little colourful sketches are very fun. Very atmospheric image, always a big fan of a big moody, steamy image. I like the fog here. I like the time of day. I like the light. I like the atmosphere. Not convinced though overall. Again, look, now you're introducing these little pods. A lot of ideas, which is good, but the ideas sort of need to come together, and I don't think that they do. Interior is pretty fine. More diagrams, very nice style of presentation. So again, from a presentation point of view, very good, very strong. From an architectural point of view, it's not working for me. There's too many ideas, and I think they all sort of struggle to come together into one cohesive sort of project in a way. But still very nice, good work. Well done, Sisu. Next one, the Unlimited Museum. Bit of a low-res image here, doesn't help. Nice to see, arguably, I mean, there's a conversation to be had about the plan itself, but what looks to be quite a comprehensive floor plan. In that there's, like, you know, quite a lot of things that look somewhat considered. Very clear, very diagrammatic in a way, but very nice to look at. I guess there are some concerns really about the sort of thickness of every wall being the same. Maybe that's the intent. I don't know. I guess you've got the column, you've got the structural grid in here as well, which is really interesting to look at. But I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what any of these rooms are. Very moody images here of the 3D model. Yeah, a bit low res again. Just doesn't say an awful lot. Like, what is this? This is black. This is black, grey stuff. Like, what is the... It'd be good to get a sense of what the material is, you know? References. Nah, I'm generally underwhelmed by this. Not enough here. Plan though, it's nice to see the plan. Sorry, the Unlimited Museum, gonna move it along. Next one, Array. This is another volumetric little boy. Got two big chunky volumes here, and then they're sort of twisted, and then they're sitting on this big glass plinth. Very nice interior. This detailing looks very interesting. Excited to see more of this. Quite a nice clear diagram, even if it is quite small and quite a bit plain visually, but effective. Openness, freedom, adaptability, architecture, and Helsinki. Quite a nice format of image. I love the prominence of the sky, compositionally speaking. I love the opaque nature of the facade. That's always very exciting to me. I love projects that do that. Yeah, I quite like this. The module provides flexible spaces, adaptable to various functions. It performs as the structural and climate manager of the building. The climate manager. You must now report to the climate manager. Module dimension. 4.5 by 4.5. I'd argue that makes it quite adaptable for future proofing, which is quite interesting. Diagrams are very good, very effective. Yeah, really good images. A little bit faint. That just could be a graphic problem. Maybe it's my display. I think a lot of the ideas in this project are very good and very strong. I don't like the final execution of it. I think proportionally it's a bit big. It's a little bit lacking balance. In more ways than one, visually, physically, no doubt. I'm not sure how this cantilevering detail works. This looks like the facade sort of falling off of it. But I'm not being pissy about your design. Like, I think it's a really interesting project. I just wonder if you need two on top of the one, maybe just one on top of the one might have been more interesting. Like, if you're going to have three elements, for two of them to almost be the same, just sort of means that you're compositionally dominating the other one. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. There is a point to that, but it's like, we have this, so do we need that? Shouldn't this all just be sort of part of the same thing? Don't know. Rambling. Next one, Juncture. This is another one too. It's sort of like split open. Interesting. Lots of little triangular, pointy little cracks and bits in here. Interested to see more. Very strong, punchy diagrams. The interaction between form and function. So architecture then. It's nice. I'm guessing this is a public space. It's quite a clear, effective diagram. And I'm guessing the building then sits on top of this. Nice seeing the truck. Consideration for the deliveries. This is a really interesting way of explaining it. I quite like these drawings, actually. Quite like them. This dude is just chilling out over here. Yeah, I have to be honest, from this point of view and from this one, the facade sort of looks damaged in a way. I think by this point I'd like to see what it is made of. Again, still unclear what it's made of, although the space is quite exciting, I guess. And I still don't know what that facade is made of. So I think you've let yourself down in that there seems to be a critical aspect of this design, which is the facade and how it interacts with the city. And there's very little information about that in your presentation. So let's just talk about what is here. I love the style of images, these sketches, beautiful. Interior is exciting, the image itself, whatever, like it's okay. Again, can't really read the building from here at all. These sketches are very good. Aerial view's fine. Sorry, Juncture, I can't really say much more about it than that. I need to see how that facade works, and just for me to get a better understanding of your proposal. And so this looks a bit wooden. Yep, it is a bit wooden. Very nice drawings here. These images, very nice. It's funny though. This doesn't quite feel like this. I have to be honest, I think this looks like a pretty fine, competent project. It's a little bit boring. Like, you know, it's like, extrude the perimeter of the site, make it wood. Although, that is a beautiful interior image. I'm a big fan of that image, so well done. Yeah, it's really just the facade, I think, could be a bit more interesting. For example, like, it's an elemental facade, but I would almost like to be able to read a separation between the columns and the horizontal elements here on the roof, in the same way that they're sort of separate from the floor plates. Because what I'm actually reading is it looks like we have, it almost makes me wonder then if the facade is structural. It looks like it's sort of just been added on to these floor plates. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds a bit fussy, but even just like a little bit better articulation really on the facade and the elemental aspects of it. Like here it's sort of working a little bit better. Like this bit's quite interesting. And like the way that we have like the finer modules. I mean, it's got these chunky boys on the outside. Like I wonder if it should have been the other way around maybe. Like maybe the finer parts are on the outside. Or maybe I'm reading that wrong. I don't know. I think it's like it's a fine, competent project. I just wish it was a little bit more exciting. It could be a little bit more exciting with what I'm seeing. Do you know what I mean? But that's it. Moving it along. Great interior image, by the way. Moving it along. Searching for Ava. Searching for Ava. This looks really interesting. I'm a big fan of the I'm a big fan of the skinny roofs. The little just pieces of paper just delicately placed on top of these big structures. I like these circular volumes. And I think I do like what I'm seeing here so far. I think because the aerial image is the first one that I'm presented with, I find that I can make my mind up quite quickly based on that first image. Architecturally speaking, not always visually speaking, but like I look at this and I'm like, yeah, interesting. I read it, I can sort of get it. So let's see more. Diagrams. Very important, very useful image here. Timber sourced in the Finnish forests. Granite stone from local quarries. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess we're talking about composition again. Very 50-50. You know, 50-50. Not sure if I love it. Yeah, very nice. Nice interior. Nice references. Okay, I guess I don't have much more to say about this. I think this looks like a very good project. Looks like a nice, exciting public building. Don't have much more really to say. Very good. Well done. Ava, well done. Next one. This is a bit of a fussy boy. It's got this like step thing going on. We've got this magic carpet motif here. Looks like the building is raining or it's crying. It looks a little bit wet. Bit of a loud diagram. Nice seeing how we arrived at the massing logic. I think. Wave dynamic. Yeah, it feels a little bit out of scale. This image again doing nothing. But that's not your fault. And then this interior could be the interior of any project. References. Don't know. It's a little bit like aware of itself. I'm not a big fan of that. Oh. Like, maybe you could have just sort of stopped here. What was determining, though, the breaking down and the sort of dissolution of the massing, I wonder? Like, how did you go from here to here? Like, it's not very clear how that emission is explained. So then we arrive at this and it's like, yeah, and then we're just going to bend the bits. Bendy bits. It's fine, I guess. I guess it's okay. It's like a project that is like working hard to be exciting. Therefore, it sort of is exciting, but I'm not really convinced by it as a winning entry. It's going to move it along. A New Horizon. This looks like a fussy, messy little boy. Big, giant plates, lots of tiny little rooms, lots of different colours, lots of different materials, bit of a green roof, not sure what's going on here. A New Horizon. Sketches are fantastic. Always love a sketch. Sort of just wish you only had the sketches. Unfortunately, these sketches were translated into a architectural proposal that I am not entirely sold on. It's like a mini city. And this image is quite interesting because it's almost scaleless in a way. And when I go back here, it's almost like if you squint, these volumes, these blocks could be towers and skyscrapers in themselves. So there is something really strange here about the effect this image has when you start looking at it that way. It's like an optical illusion. It's like if you squint, you see one thing, and if you look back, you see a different thing. It's interesting. I don't think that was the intent, though. I think your design is considered. I guess it's considered, like you put work into it. It's been thought through. You're excited by it. Just don't think it's right for this site. I think it's a little bit messy. There's quite a lot of different ideas all happening at once. My favorite images are your sketches, but I say that quite a lot. So don't take that personally, please. You did the best thing that you thought you were doing for the site, and that is all you can ask. Okay, gonna move it along. Alto Forever. It's just a big circular drum, isn't it? Sketches. Text. I have to say, it's reminding me a little bit of like a concrete car park ramp. Although that interior is quite funky. Bit weird, isn't it? I'm sorry, there's not enough information here. There's not enough drawings or images to really allow me to engage with the project. Like, why is there two buildings? Like, you're going to do this, then you also do that. Like, why isn't it all one thing? What is the idea? What does it have to do with Alto? Sketches are playful, I guess, but museums tend to not work vertically, in my experience, in my opinion. Unless it's like the Guggenheim, which I argue doesn't really work that well in a lot of ways. The glass Guggenheim. I think that's sort of what we're looking at here. Yep, there's the Guggenheim. Sorry, Alto Forever. Not a big fan of this one. Going to move it along. Canopies. Canopies indeed. Lots of diagrams explaining the formal logic. Sort of on board with that. It's all good. I think my big concern with it is really what you're making these canopies out of. Like, what are they made out of? It's a missed opportunity because I think this is actually quite an interesting project. I just wish it looked better and that the facade made more sense, or the canopies were sort of clad differently. Like, you have this timber interior and you have the references that all have the timber interior, but for some reason your proposal has like streaks of grass. It looks like a xylophone. Like, it just could be the way in which it's artistically and visually communicated. It's letting it down, in my opinion. But it's a really interesting idea, I think. Although I do wonder if it's only sort of engaging with the harbour edge and not the city edge, and the way in which the scale is arranged. Big chunky boy at the back. Anyway, I don't think I've seen anything like this so far, in about 400 entries. So I will hats off to that. But no, I think it needs to look better, in my opinion. Visually speaking, not formally. Moving it along. The Hull and the Pearl. Again. No, am I right? One building? Oh no. What are you doing? Why are you doing another building? Keenly aware of architecture. Okay, wait, this is sort of interesting. Keenly aware of architecture's role in our warming planet, the proposal aims to consolidate its most resource-intensive elements into a smaller footprint for concentrated impact. This bold move both reinforces and enhances the neighbouring Saret development strategy of extending sightlines along Helsinki's urban grid. So the museum's ancillary functions are aggregated into a larger hexagonal building into the hull. I don't know if I like. I think I like the spirit of that move. Like, I've been kind of moaning for 400 entries now that so many of these entries are bigger than they need to be, and this is a proposal that's actually trying to be considerate and make it smaller. But they're not making it smaller because the brief is the brief and the program requirements are the program requirements. So they've made a building that looks like it's not their building to put all the bad stuff in it. I don't know if it's the bad stuff, but what did they say? They call it the hull. Echoing the geometry of the development. So yeah, to make it feel like part of that. An opportunity to partner with the builders, plan to maximize efficiencies and labour and cost. You know what? There's a nice idea here. There is a clever idea. But I do wonder if you're sort of making the trickier parts someone else's problem, so to speak. It almost feels like, I'm not saying this is what you've done, but it's like you couldn't make the program work with your proposal, so you're going to actually put all the problematic aspects into the other development. But maybe that's unfair. It is nice seeing something at this scale though. Like, this is a really nice interior. Exterior, I feel like this thing's crying out for a bit more structure in there. Not because it's needed, but just because I think visually it would look more interesting. Maybe we need some angular bracing in here or something. I mean, this is a project that lends itself quite well to visual signage. Not an LED display so much, but like you could really print something on this. Could look beautiful. Interior looks great. Very rigid, very confident. Chunky little boy. I love it. I love this. I think the idea is bold. I think I love this project overall because they try to do something different. And you do get bored looking at 623 projects on the same site, let me tell you. So, the Hull and the Pearl. I think I quite like your project quite a lot. Next one. ONSI. Okay, low-res image. Very hard to read what's happening here. The building looks like it's sort of melting on the site. This thing is so low-res. It's like Minecraft. What is this 32-bit piece of architecture I'm looking at here? And this is so weird because this looks quite clear. This isn't a criticism. I can't be bothered having this conversation, but it looks a bit like an AI-generated image or submission, which is just uninspiring, a bit boring. Let's look at what is here. I see birds attacking the people in the lobby. I see these little fragmented black ghosts floating on the horizon. I see this weird green reflection in the night sky. I see this sad melting witch's hat just bagging around here on the harbour. I see birds that are bigger than the people. I see structure that makes no sense. I see two people who are clearly the same person. I see one sketch that may or may not have been made by a human. ONSI, I do not see anything else, so I'm going to move it along. Okay, shoreline. This has my attention. I quite like the look of this so far. Oh, wrong one. Interior space looks great. Little structural diagram here looks great. Is the facade structural though? That's what's interesting here. It's hard to tell. Next image. Yeah, and you've sort of got timber on the inside, and then what do we have on the outside? What is that, like render? Plaster? Bit hard to know. Interior's fantastic though. I really like this. This is an exciting image, an exciting project. I'm guessing the facade isn't structural. So really what we're looking at here is a pattern, which I quite love. I'm a fan of that, to be perfectly honest. Oh, what is that? It looks like we've got a physical model here. Great. Interior, great. Exterior, great. Interior, great. Exterior, great. Like, very strong presentation. I like the idea. The idea is sort of very self-explanatory in a way. It's not overcomplicated. I think it's a fun, playful, good project. So Shoreline, I like your project quite a lot. Well done. Next one, fabric and adaptable use project. And I see something that looks quite interesting. Although this is quite difficult to read. What you are looking at on the first page is not a museum. It is a piece of a larger vision that we'll redefine. Like, what is this leaning up against? Bit hard to understand. Not enough here, I'm afraid. This looks quite cool. And then what I see here is like no indication of how the spaces work or how the plan works or how the program works. So the images that are here are all quite abstract, unclear, and a little bit out of context. So fabric, I'm sorry, but I don't have much more to say than that. Nice references. Next one. Oh, sorry, that sounded like a mean response. Just a bit bored of these types of projects where they just sort of extrude the footprint of the site and then put a green roof on it. And although these images are fantastic, very intense, lots of activity, lots of energy. This is a little bit more dull, I have to say. Sorry, but that's what I think. Interior looks playful, interesting. Black and white people looking up at the sky. Are they ghosts? That's a very clever way of showing references and thinking, I think, almost sort of superimposing it within your sectional drawing or on like a shelf in the gallery. That's really cool. And that's it. Not a bad project. Better than I thought it was going to be. These drawings, fantastic. Next one, Raffo. This is an exciting, interesting little boy. Yeah, cool. Diagrams are hard to read, I have to say. I love this facade. I think it's very exciting, very playful, very fun. Style of image, ooh, fantastic. Interior, fantastic. Love it. I love the 60s people. Beautiful. Not sure how the light works. Bit funny. Not too sure how that works. Again, diagrams and stuff. I know it's unfair because I'm kind of speed reviewing these, but like, if you can't explain it to me here, and you can't get me here, and I'm trying to not read the text, I'm really just relying on your images, which are great, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I think this is a really exciting project, but I don't fully get it. So I might come back to this and talk about it again. Nice references. Next one, war. War. What are? Yeah, this project certainly does look a little bit like a battlefield. What is going on with these trees? They are not of this planet. Sketch looks good. Model not so good. Nope. Not a fan. Sorry, not a fan, War. Sketches are nice, but that's all I really have to say. Other than that, everything's got that Minecraft action happening here. Very weird. Next one. Ooh, this looks like... The last one was Minecraft. This one looks like Lego. Not sure what's going on here. Big canopy, big black screen underneath it. Diagrams very loud, visually intrusive. This gives me nothing. These also give me very little. These also give me very little. I'm sorry, but I'm going to move it along. Not a big fan of this one. Next one, Lato. So we've got this pyramid structure, we've got this circulation core, we've got a green roof, we have an interesting facade, and we have a flag. We have a flag. Diagrams very nice. Yeah, explain things quite well. Style of image is beautiful. I feel like I've seen this sort of style of image before, but very nice. Very interesting use of this perspective here. Make the building pop. Interior looks exciting. Style of image great. Style of image great. This is very interesting. I like it. Lato, I like your project. It looks fun, it looks playful, it looks buildable. Not so sure really how the facade works, but it's good. It's a nice, fun little project. And that is that. That is another 20 projects, and that is another 100 projects. So I think we've hit 400. 400 projects. That means there are 223 projects left to go in this series. So that's been fun. Let me know as usual. Sorry I've been quite late with this episode, but I'm going to try and get back into the regular habit of posting them again going forward. Should have this whole series wrapped up by the summer actually, which is quite exciting. So let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Please keep the conversation going in the comments. If you enjoy this series, please share it with your friends, share it with your co-workers, whatever, you know, the usual stuff. And in the meantime, all the best. See you soon.